Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Jamie TV, streaming 100% live on YouTube. And welcome to Jamie. Sorry about the little bit of fallback there from my. I'm using this iPad over here to check the chat, and I forgot to turn it down. So sorry about that. So yes, I am set up this evening in a slightly sound test room kind of a fashion, bit of a poor man's sound test room this evening. Now, one thing I must ask you first of all, oh yes, I must ask you, can you hear me okay? Could you hear the little bit of keyboard there all right? And can you hear me speaking all right? If you could just let me know in the chat if the levels are okay for you. Yeah, what I've had to do this evening is I've had to take the brightness on my iPad screen right down because Mynth is so white, it's so bright that I noticed that you couldn't actually see anything on the screen. So I hope that you can see the features on the screen at least reasonably well. So yeah, just let me know these things in the chat. Sounds good. Fine here, Jamie. Thank you very much. Okay, yes, I'm set up in a vaguely sort of poor man's sound test room kind of a fashion because I figured for this kind of a demonstration, that's the best thing to do. That's why Doug does it. And speaking of Doug, this morning, the lovely and handsome and super talented Mr. Doug Woods gave me a bit of a ring on FaceTime because we see normally if I decided to do a synth or that type of app for my stream, I would contact Doug and ask him if he wasn't doing the same one on the same day. I've done that before. But this week's been a bit of a rush because the kids are off school. I can't get anything done in my studio in the daytime at all. So it's basically, you know, kind of look after the kids, then rush out to my studio and do some guitar lessons and stuff, and then straight on with the stream. So I didn't make time. I was going to say I didn't have time, but I didn't make time to contact Doug, and it turns out he was going to do it today as well. So Doug called me and he said, you know what, I'll do something else, don't worry about it. So thank you very much, and big up to Mr. Doug Woods, who is a bit of a hero to me actually when it comes to the iOS thing. So it's just it's really nice when he calls, and it's wonderful that he's so supportive and helpful. So the reason I decided to do Mynth, even though I'm kind of mostly a things with strings kind of a guy, and that is what I want to feature mostly in my videos and streams, Mynth came out and I had a play with it and immediately loved it, and I just thought, you know what, this is a synth that I could demonstrate and do something with, and just really fancied doing it. And I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But what I must just tell you, there's nothing I can do here other than be completely honest. And I feel a little awkward about it. But about 10 minutes before the stream was due to start, I'd just got a very short time to just have a little play around with Mynth and just kind of, you know, get myself ready and prepared. And it crashed. So I restarted it and it crashed again, and did that a couple more times. I was using it in standalone mode as I am now, and I opened it in AUM and it did the same thing there, and so I'm sat there thinking, oh, what do I do? What do I do now? And then Joe Woods sent me a message and asked me if it was crashing for me because it was crashing for her. So it kind of reassured me that it wasn't anything that I was doing wrong here. I was kind of looking at my controllers and wondering if it was something I've done here. But yeah, Meerkat says it's pretty unstable at present. So yes, so I've just found out that this app that I intend to demo this evening is a little unstable at present. I've not had long with it at all, as I've said, so all I can gather from the few minutes I've had with it is that some of the presets are crashing and some aren't. So there may be a bit of crashing this evening. If it gets too bad, I will just maybe leave it until it's a bit more stable, and I'll do something else with the rest of the stream. I'll only be streaming up until 8 o'clock, because I do believe that Doug is going to be streaming, even though I've stolen the app that he was going to cover. So, all right, so let's yeah, Meerkat says it's crashed in AUM and Cubasis 3, and Joe said it was crashing for her in Cubasis 2. So yeah, obviously there is a problem, but it is brand new out and it is quite wonderful, so it is well worth considering, because I'm sure that that little issue will be fixed. And as Paul is saying right now in the chat, it's pretty common when a new app comes out that there are some teething issues, so let's not sweat that too much. Right, so this evening you will see I have got, normally I have an enormous ridiculously big key station here, and I thought it would just be nice this evening to just have my little Akai MPK mini instead, just for a change. I've only just recently got this. It is the first version of this keyboard, and I've got to say that it's really, the reason I bought it is because I needed something I could throw in a bag. I needed something I could use mobile, and didn't have very much money to spend, and I got this on eBay for 30 quid including postage, and it's perfect for what I need it for, because it didn't cost me a lot. I can throw it in a bag and not worry about it, and it's the old version, so it hasn't got the little joystick thing on it for the modulation and pitch bend, which to be honest suits me down to the ground, because I can't use them at all. I find them really, really awkward and fiddly, and I'd be worried about it breaking if I chucked it in a bag. So this for 30 quid is pretty decent for me, and I love things with pads on that I can hit and knobs that I can turn. I've kind of just recently become a little bit obsessed with controllers. So all right, let's press on. What I'm not going to be doing tonight is attempting to dazzle you with splendid keyboard playing, because I'm not a splendid keyboard player. I'm just going to demonstrate what the app does for you. So we have this sound right now, and this sound is not crashing. So let's go up here and I'll talk you through the app. So we'll go up here and we will select, and I wanted to use this evening in standalone mode if at all possible, because it fills out the screen nicely. When you use it in AUM or Cubasis, they're the only other apps I've hosted it in so far very briefly, what you get is a slightly different layout. There's no keys because I guess they're not necessary in that kind of situation, so you just get this, and it's kind of set out slightly different. It's resized in a way that suits that kind of application, but I just think it looks better on screen for this kind of demo if it fills out the screen nicely. So I'm going to go up here, and this little window up here is where you select a preset. So let's just take the first one in the list of pads. We've got leads, basses, effects, pads, and there's a bank here for user stuff, which I've not had time to do yet. So let's just take this sound, Apolis. Now the sounds in this synth are kind of, a lot of them are a little bit odd, a little bit quirky. They are kind of like interesting, a little bit experimental. There's not many standard sounding presets, but then there's like a whole massive host of great synths on iOS with lots of standard presets in. So We don't really need another one. Now, when you look at an app by Fingerlab, I don't know about you, but for me, they tend to look a little bit, the way that they're set out, the way that they're designed, I think is the word, they look a little bit like a toy in a way. And it's nice, actually, because everything is very, very clear. Now, it might not look like there's an awful lot going on this screen, but actually, when you really get into it, there's a lot happening, and it's all on one screen. So, let me show you some stuff. If I take... let's see now, what shall I do? Yeah, one thing I noticed about this app, by the way, is that a lot of the effects, a lot of the sounds, the presets even, when you select them, a lot of the time they don't have any effects on. The effects are found here, and you probably can't see this too clearly, it's very small, but here where it says effects, there are 3 little dots underneath, and when you've got one of the 3 effects selected, when you've got one of them activated, the dots light up. So when you select a preset, if you look here and you see something's lit up, you can tell that one of the effects is activated. So if I go here into effects, we've got a tube amp sound, a delay and a reverb. Now if I go to tube amp, I can take up some drive. And on the other side of tube amp, we've got distortion. And it's a beautifully kind of digital distortion, which, you know, I find really, really pleasing. It suits the app, really suits it. So lots of drive and distortion. And you can hear we can get some pretty extreme sounding stuff there. I'm just going to take those back down. I quite like that. And then we've got a delay here, which is really, really nice. We've got time and feedback to play with, and also dry and wet. So lots and lots of feedbacks in a shorter time. Oh, I like that. So you can hear there, we can get some really, really nice delay going on. And one thing I quite like to do, I've not tried this yet, let's try this because I really kind of like this. There's lots of, let's take the time and feedback up pretty high, but move it towards the dry. That little bit of, there. I like that. That works for me. Okay. Ooh. Cool. Reminds me of spending hours and hours arsing around with guitar delay pedals, getting, you know, weird and wonderful sounds by changing the time and feedbacks whilst it's still switched on. And the reverb, I'll take the delay off while we do the reverb just so we can really hear it nice and clearly. Get a little bit more on there. It does sound really, really nice. Alright, okay, so there's your effects anyway. And if you can see it, if you've got superbly brilliant vision, if I just come out of here now, let's put some delay back on, and we'll come out of here now and you'll see maybe underneath the effects the 3 little lights are lit up. while I'm looking at the top bar here, we've also got this little very, very simple recorder here. So we can just record what we're playing, stop it, and then you go in here and it's saved the recording there, and we can play it back. And I don't want to save that, so I'll just select bin from the list there, and there we go. Right, we've also got an undo button. If your last change really sucked, you can undo whatever you did last. And over here we've got some settings, and if you can see this, I've got MIDI on, obviously, because I'm using my little keyboard, and you get a list here of the things that you can select as a MIDI source, and you can also select what channel you want to use. I've just got it set to Omni because I'm using the one thing. In this list, by the way, I've got, as well as MPK Mini and Session 1, I've also got iRig Pro Duo, because the way I have this set up, I know I keep banging on about the iRig Pro Duo, but I just think it's a really underrated and very special interface. And the way I have it set up is I've got the ugly white overpriced Apple dongly nonsense thing here in the side of the iPad with a lead in so that it's charging the iPad all the time, and plugged into here I've got my power bank, which is over here, and the MPK Mini is plugged into that, and so is the iRig Pro Duo. But the Duo is not getting any power from that. I'm using a 9-volt 500 milliamp center pin negative adapter, cheapo replacement adapter that you would buy for a guitar pedal. That's plugged into the iRig Pro Duo, so it's getting its power from there. So everything is pretty stable, which I have found since I became interested in controllers. Stability can be a bit of a thing, and I have had a few nightmares with it, but this setup so far seems pretty rock solid. Okay, I'm just checking the chat because I'm rambling away and just kind of, you know, just well, I'm flattered by how many people are here. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. I just noticed something here. I'm just Ed says, hey, Jamie and gang will be in lurk mode whilst working. Lurk mode. Does that mean, Ed, that you're listening but not talking? Because that's what I've been doing to Jacob recently, because during Jakob's streams recently, because normally I watch all Jakob's streams, but recently I've been doing a little bit of work with the band, and I've been driving a little distance to do that. So I've been listening to Jakob's live stream in my car on YouTube, but unable to talk to anyone. So, you know, I always kind of say, hi, I'm just about to set off driving now, so I'm listening but can't talk, and then everyone in the chat saying hi to me, and I just can't I just can't reply while driving. Anyway, you didn't need to know that. Shut up, Jamie. Okay, so let's have a look through what the app actually does. So we have over here 3 VCOs, and I'm going to switch off 2 and 3, so we've just got number 1. Alright, and then at the top we have a volume for number 1. Use your left hand so that you can use your right hand for that. Okay, right, then the next control down is an octave. You can select from one of six octaves that you want it to play on. Which is nice because we've got 3 of these that are identical, so we can blend them up and really... Oh, Samuel says that's hurting his ears. Oh, sorry, Samuel. Yes, of course I can lower the octave, sir. I pressed that button there, I think. Well, I just got this, so... Yeah, that's a lower octave. I know I've said this before in chats, but in live streams, but I have some hearing damage, so the high frequencies don't upset me like they might upset a lot of people. It's from many years of turning my bass amp up too loud because everyone else was turned up too loud. So, you know, so the obvious thing to do is just to keep turning everything up instead of asking anyone to turn down. Okay, Samuel, if it continues to be an issue, mate, do just say, you know, you won't upset me. It takes a lot to upset me, believe me. Okay, so that's my VCO, and then what I've got is 2 more of these, so I can put this one on. In fact, let's switch that one off. Now this one is a higher frequency. Take that down a bit. Oh, and I forgot to mention, of course, at the bottom we have a pitch control. Now, does this app do that double tap thing where it returns to 12 o'clock? It does. It does the double tap thing, everyone. Every app should do that. There are some that don't, and it really disappoints. I wish that Cubasis did it. You know, when you're mixing, I really wish that you could double tap a mixer fader and it would return to like 0 dB. I think that would be awesome. That would really work for me. Alright, so we've got 3 of these VCOs, and this one, let's put this one on a really low octave, right? Let's do that, and then we'll blend these 3 sounds together with the volumes. Alright, so that's really, it's just a nice, thick, rich sound. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take 2 of them off. So I want to show you this little window thing here. Now a little window at the bottom of this strip here. If I click on this, right, we can choose between different waveforms. So if I select this one, we've got the wobbly line. You know, I'm not a synth guy, right? So I'm not gonna try and talk in, you know, like proper clever synth man terms. I'm not Nutrix. Okay, and then we're gonna go. Samuel says it's the aliasing distortion of the oscillators that is bugging. It's like frequencies all over the place, halved and doubled. Finger paint the wave. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that, Samuel. I've not forgot. Well, I'll change sound in a moment, Samuel. I'll just finish this little section. Okay. He says, as though he's got a plan and knows what he's doing. Right. So we've got the wobbly line. We've got the triangle. The squarey one, and we've got the ramp. Now we can also ask for a random one. Now look at that. See, you're expecting it to just choose from one of the 4, but no, it draws in something mental for you. And speaking of drawing in, you can go and just draw your own thing in. And it's really kind of tempting to sort of just, you know, just kind of keep arsing about with it and try and come up with something wonderful. And actually that was quite interesting. I quite like that. right? And you could, I mean, you could be at this all day, couldn't you? Like, right? Let's see what that sounds like. That's living on a prayer, isn't it? No, it's not. It's I Want to Break Free. Okay, well, anyway, that's that thing, okay? So then at the bottom of there, you've got the ADSR thing, which you can simply move around with your finger, which is nice. So let's go with a quicker attack and stuff. And then drag out that decay. And then make it all as short as possible for demonstration purposes, obviously. There we go. There. I mean, it's just great. It's a lot of fun to play with. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the sound over and hope that I click on one that doesn't crash. And then we shall continue with this little voyage of discovery. What's this one? Let's try and find something a little less insane, maybe. With the oh, hang on, that's all right. Okay, that'll do us. Right, okay, so moving along, we have some filters to play around with. We have two filters here, and let me just take one off so we can just hear what one is doing. And in the little window at the bottom of the filter, we have a few different presets to select from. We've got Moog Ladder, we've got Korg Low Pass, Resonant or String Resonator. So Moog Ladder, we've got a cutoff at the top, and a resonance here. Depth here. You know, to me, the sound of this app is kind of, how can I put it? It's quite clear. It's quite sort of cutting and distinct. And maybe on its own, it's perhaps not the warmest sounding of synths. But, you know, I've not had time to fanny about with it, but I imagine that using this in a mix could actually be very, very useful, because it's one of those, it's got one of those kind of sounds to it that, you know, you could just imagine sitting quite nicely in the mix, you know, in the way that when you're mixing stuff, sometimes you have to say, for an example, take a guitar sound. An acoustic guitar sound is a really good example, a sound that's very full and rich. And to make it sit in that mix, you have to make it sound a bit crap. You have to kind of scoop out a load of the lows, you know, and really kind of tweak it until it sounds a little bit thin, till it sounds a bit Pissypants, in fact. And then it sits in the mix nice. And when it's all, you know, when everything's turned up and everything's all on, it sounds fantastic in there. I could imagine this sitting great in a mix very, very easily. And I do like it that, you know, that like that, you know, synths, can have like a sound all of their own. You know, when I was kind of more just kind of a guitar player, and you know, we'd have a keyboard player in the band, he did keyboard things, I wasn't really that interested in it. And you know, you kind of, when you get more into it and you learn, some synth, not all synths, some synths just to me just sound like a synth, but you know, some of them really have their own sound and character, and this does. So obviously, you know, it's up to you whether it's a character that you like. So that's the Moog ladder. And then if we go over to the Korg Low Pass, let's see if I can make this thing do its thing. And we've got an ADSR as well down here at the bottom of this. Okay, and then we have a second filter. So if we set that with a different, we'll set that with the string resonator. And of course, with both on, we've got kind of a lot going on. Alright, now let me just see if I can maybe find a sound that's a bit simpler, and I'm going to show you what's going on with the Lfos. I think it'd be nice to start with a simpler sound, he said, so he knows what he's doing when he's demoing a synth app. Let's go with a bass sound, perhaps. Yeah, maybe not that one. Okay, right. So we've only got one LFO on here. Now, what you can do with the LFO is decide what parameter you want to point it at. And you do that by tapping on this window here. And then the things that you can assign it to start to flash. So let's assign it to this. And I haven't played with this sound before, so you know, I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Let's assign the LFO to the cutoff in this filter, and then okay, see that cutoff moving there? The more I turn up the rate, the faster it moves. So let's then, and of course we've got attack and decay at the bottom of each LFO. I just want to mention that before I forget to mention it. And we also, for each LFO, can draw in a thingamabob as well. Which is tons of fun. Right, let's pick another LFO and let's send this somewhere else. Now, when I was pissy-panting about with this earlier, I managed to do something really, really cool, and I convinced myself that I was going to remember how to do it later on. So let's see if I can. Okay, so let's send this rate to, yeah, let's send this LFO here to this octave here. Yeah, right, okay, that worked. All right, so let's now kind of take the rate down so it's not traveling as far, and take the depth down. Right, now let's get that rate up there. Okay, so turn the depth up and it will travel further, and the rate is the speed that it will move through the octaves. Okay, right. Mental sound. I'm going to take the volume of that one down. Right, okay. So now we've got this kind of climbing thing going on in the background, which is really quite nice. All right, I feel encouraged, like I actually did something that went almost like I wanted it to go. So we'll go over to the third LFO, right, and we're going to send this now to, and another thing that I managed to do very quickly earlier, I can send this to one of the other LFOs, right? So let's send it to the depth on here. See the depth moving now. There we go. Yeah, okay. All right, okay. Marvelous. Stupid hippie. Almost kind of starting to get his head around a synth. Marvelous. And you know what? I think this synth is a really good one to get if you kind of like, if you kind of sort of are interested in synths, and if you're kind of like I was until quite recently, you know, someone who just like buys a synth that you've heard Doug demo and you know you thought it sounded great, so you buy it because Doug made it sound great, and you basically you like it because it's got some great presets in it. It sounds good and it's got great presets, and you use the presets. And then, you know, if you kind of at that point of wanting to get into manipulating that synth and getting sounds out of it yourself, and, you know, learning about synthesis, maybe watch some New Tricks videos, because that guy really knows what he's on about when it comes to that kind of thing. But maybe get this synth, because it's really kind of very clear and it's quite easy to get you. I mean, if I can do it, you know, anyone can do it. It's quite clear and it's quite easy to get your head. Yes, audible video, it is. It's Doug's fault that we all own so many iOS synths. Yeah, this is a really good one to start with that kind of thing. And another one I'll mention while I'm here is Primer Synth, and I'm not saying that just because, you know, it's free or because it's got the video course that comes with it. Primer Synth is a great one to get stuck into. That's the first one I used where I sort of went, right, I'm going to make all my own sounds, and you know, it went pretty good. Anyway, back to the thing. Oh, Samuel's talking about Tal. I have to read that because that's like one of my absolute favourites. I'm so happy Tal had an update with cool delay and reverb added, and overhauled preset browser too. Did it? I only used it just the other day, and it didn't then. Has it just had that today? Because I absolutely love that synth. It just sort of takes me right back to being 14, you know, and in my bedroom with a Dr. Rhythm and my bass and my guitar and some pedals, and my best mate had a Juno, and we had a little Tascam, and we were writing songs and learning, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful time. The sound of that synth just takes me right back, and it's like magic. Update dropped today. Fantastic. Right, okay, so I know what I'm going to play with tonight. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you for telling me. Right, all right, well, we've got another LFO left over, and you know, like, I kind of like that sound. But let's do something with this one, because we've got another one. Let's do something. So I'm pressing that, and I am going to wait a minute. I'm going to switch it on first. Then I'm going to press on this little window here, and I am going to send it somewhere. Maybe we could send it to the volume here on the third sound, on the third VCO. Right. So how do I make that move? I don't know if you can see this at all. You probably can't. But once you've assigned one of the LFOs to a parameter somewhere, there is a little blue dot with a number in it that relates to the LFO that is assigned there. You know, just in case you kind of forget what you did. You know, if you're a daft old hippie and your brain's going a bit runny, and you need these little prompts. Right, so I sent that. Where did I send that to? You see, it's gone already. I sent it to that volume there. Right, so if I just play a note, and then how do I make it go further? Would that be depth? I want it to do more than that. Oh, I've just remembered something I forgot to show you. Okay, that's good. Don't forget it, hippie. Right, okay, so depth. Right, maybe I need to just turn that down. Right, yeah, so if I take the volume all the way down. There we are. Right. So the depth is going to change how far that volume moves, and the rate, the speed at which it moves. Turn those two off, just show what it's doing, right? You know what? I don't know if that's really a very good sound, a very good usable sound, but you know, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself there. I hope you're enjoying yourself as much as I am, because that was cool. Audible Video says that sucks. What sucks? I hope you're not saying my sound sucks. How dare you? Oh, a known issue with old Junos. All 6 voice chips. I'm reading the chat backwards. Apologies. All 6 voice chips on my Juno 106 are dead. So Tal it is. Oh no. Do you know, Samuel? I would so love to get an actual Juno because of all the things I've mentioned before. And but you know what? If I did, I really don't have anywhere to put it. In fact, if I bought any keyboards of any size, I mean this controller, right? I need to buy things this size because I have so many things with strings in here. There really is no room for synths, and I can't mount them on the walls because the walls are false walls with soundproofing in them. So you know, no, it's our audible video. I got it. I got it. You'd have to really be offensive to offend me. I promise you. You'd really have to be very, very unpleasant. And doing YouTube just makes you tougher, I have to say. So yeah, so I can't buy any synths as much as I'd love to. No, I've not got any money, so it's not an issue anyway. So for me, the iOS apps, the ones that are replicas of classic synths, are wonderful. But then buy rack mounts then, Jimmy. Oh, you see, rack mounts, they take up a lot more room than it looks, and I have to get students in this room as well, you know, and oh, you got me thinking now. You never know. One day maybe when I can afford an extension and the synths. Right, I've thought of two things now that I've got to show you, and I have 10 minutes left. So let me just stop wobbling and talking like a stupid old random hippie, and show you these two things. So the easiest one to show you is, let's just select another sound. I've not actually had any crashes as yet. I've been very careful what sound I selected. So there are some effects sounds in here, and there are some nice ones. Let's just go with bubbles. I really liked bubbles. Just a cool sound. If I press this over here, this is the hold button. My room doesn't even look big enough for me. That's the camera angle. The room is not huge at all. And one or two of the lads that I teach, when they can actually come back in person for lessons, which they can't at the moment, but a couple of them do have to stoop a little bit when they come in the room because the ceiling is not that high. But it doesn't need to be for me because I'm 5'4", so I may be guilty of using camera angles that make me look a lot bigger than I am. I am a diddy person. Okay, so yes, so it has a hold button. I've shown you that. Now another thing that just occurred to me that I should show you, the Lfos. There is a little button underneath the parameter window here that I didn't notice at first, and what it does is there's an arrow, right, and it goes like this, and another arrow that goes like that, and I think that means that the LFO continues to do its thing in kind of a circular fashion, and if you press it, it's just an arrow going this way, which means if you see the cutoff there, it just does it the one time. Switch it back, there, and now it's repeat and repeat. Oh, Colin's here. Hi, Colin. Thank you for being here, sir. I think I've shown you more or less everything about this app. Let me just have a very quick look around. I don't think I've missed anything. Now, what I would possibly have done if it wasn't for the experience I had just before the stream, I'd probably have razzed through a bunch of presets and shown you more. But I've kind of avoided doing that. I've sort of kind of, you know, managed to open a few that haven't crashed, and so I've just kind of worked with that, and felt very fortunate about it. So I might just do that in a moment because I don't think I have anything left to show you about this app. There's nothing really to show you by putting it in AUM or in Cubasis. There's, you know, there's nothing extra that you'll see from that. Okay, two things I should say. The app is free to download, so you can download it and have a razz around with a few presets that you get. I don't think you can save any presets that you make yourself, but if you want to unlock the whole thing, all the presets and the ability to save your own presets, then it's £5. So I think that it is a really, really good purchase. And I know a lot of you have already got about 500 iOS synths, but you need this one as well, is basically what I'm saying to you. So there's that. And another thing I was going to tell you, but it's now gone. So, oh yes, no, there is something else. It has an arpeggiator. Right. Right, okay. It has an arpeggiator. So you press this little arp button up here and you switch the arpeggiator on there, and for some reason the tempo is set at 360 beats per minute. So let's just drag that down, and then you go like this. I think I could probably have selected a better sound for that. Okay, let's we'll pick a lead sound, maybe the church sound, maybe not that one. All right, that one will do us. Okay, so back to the ARP, right? And the ARP, by the way, it doesn't switch off when you move to a different sound. It's kind of independent of everything. So we have beats per minute here. We've got note length here. That is not working as I thought. Okay, that's not working as I expected it to. Let me just get a different sound there. I think that might be what's happening to me there. It would be really good if I'd had a little bit more time to look at these sounds. Okay, go to the ARP and switch it on. Ah. There, okay, so you get the idea from that. Right, okay, I've only got a couple of minutes left, so before I bugger off, I just want to say thank you very, 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 very much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. I can't believe that so many people checked out the stream today to see a stupid old hippie demonstrating a synth. I'm really chuffed to bits that I managed to get through this without having any crashes. And I'm sure that it's just a little bit of a teething issue and will be sorted out very soon. So thank you once again for being here. Really, really appreciate it. Massive thanks to Doug for being really, really good about me choosing the same app to talk about today as he was going to do. And I really, really appreciate the fact that he was willing to say, you know, I'll just do something else today, so it's not too much Mynth today. So I will just, before I go, show you a couple of these effects sounds. Why is it not crashing on me now? It's making a liar of me. this was the one I really liked earlier. I've just found it. I've got 2 minutes left and I've just found it. Okay, alright, so it's not going to crash on me, so you'll just think I'm a fibber now. But anyway, thank you very, very much for being here. I'm off now to get some coffee and then to check out what Doug is streaming instead of Mynth. And I'm sure that Doug will do, I'm sure that Doug will be doing a stream about this app very soon, where you'll get to see it demonstrated with some fancy keyboard playing as well. So thanks very, very much. So until I see you all again, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, be good people, make lots of music, and don't pissy pants about. I'll see you later. Take care.